broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yes. Here we go, guys. It's time. Welcome to the Doctor Who AFTERBUZZ TV After Show. Yes, that dance is exactly what I wanted today. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Doctor Who After Show. We're talking about episode 903, Under the Lake.
Part one.
Part one. No, it's Under the Lake is the title of this episode.
All right. Come on. Sorry.
All right, guys, I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can tweet me throughout the week, throughout the show, at @ZachWilson. Now let me introduce you to my fantastic panel, always here every week, Tauri Miller.
Hey, I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. It's TauriJay.
And next to him, the fantastic...
Hi, everyone. I'm Yael. You can tweet at me at Yael Tygiel. That's YaelTygiel.
And joining us this week, we brought in our friend, another host here at AFTERBUZZ, Steve Kaufman.
Yay. Thank you guys so much for having me. You can find me at Steve Kaufman. That is KAUFMANN. Excited to be here.
Yay.
All right, guys. First reactions off the top. Like it? Dislike it? What do you think of Under the Lake?
Who's starting?
I'll start.
Let's start with Tauri.
All right. I liked it. I enjoyed so many aspects, specifically the Doctor. Like, he's been winning me over so much over the last season. And then this episode really clinched him in as like an actual Doctor.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like that the Doctor really is like he is the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I said it about the was it the I think it was the first episode of the season where it was like this is such a Doctor Who episode of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it continues to be that.
Mm-hmm. I was really disappointed that they weren't the Gelth from The Unquiet Dead. I have been waiting for them to come back for no reason. And I was like, as soon as I saw the ghost, I was like, oh, it's totally the Gelth. I'm so excited to see the Gelth. And it definitely 100% was not. But this episode felt a lot like if you take The Unquiet Dead and merge it with Waters on Mars or 42, it like felt kind of like those episodes.
Which one was 42?
42 is everyone forgets 42. It was season 3 episode 7 with Tennant and Martha, and it's where they're like sucking off energy from a sun kind of, and they keep like burn with me is that one.
Right.
It felt very much like that where they're going off and like killing off one by one.
Well, this episode is sort of a classic Doctor Who trope. It's the base under siege. Which, like, especially going back in the second Doctor was huge. It was like that was like every episode was base under siege. It's a monster. You're trapped in a small enclosed location, and a monster is coming to kill you and is going to slowly pick off your teammates until you fix the situation.
Right. But you know, in general, I just wanted the Gelth. That's all.
If we can take anything from Yael tonight.
Yeah. I want my Gelth.
She didn't want the Tivoli. She didn't want them aliens from Tivoli. She wanted the Gelth.
Yeah.
Steve, what did you think?
I enjoyed this episode not as much as the past two.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that's unfair to weigh them because those were like season premiere ones.
Yeah.
But I'm weighing them. I'm weighing them. I didn't like this one and where this one's going for a two-parter than the last two.
Well, yeah, the other two had so much like depth and weight. And they were just so meaty. And this one was like fun, whimsical adventure. You know,
just a normal fun. I feel like we could have stood for a standalone episode this week. And then had this, then had another. Because I think looking at their episode list, like there are a lot of these two-parters.
Yeah,
it's mostly. I think I don't have it in front of me. If I'm correct, it's 4 two-parters and then 4 standalones.
That sounds correct.
Okay.
It might have been 5 two-parters.
not in that order.
No, not
Okay.
not like the. Yeah.
All our standalones come at the end.
Right. Yes, I think that's correct. Yeah, something like that.
But I really enjoyed this episode. Like, it was fun in that it gave us an interesting take on like a very, very classic monster. That was very much a Doctor Who take on it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't predictable. It didn't go where I thought exactly where I thought it was going to go. Especially towards the third act, the last third of the episode, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
I have no idea where this is going, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'll say that the third act was definitely strong. I think the first act was a little weak. We started with this crew, and it was very obvious what the first thing that happened was going to be.
Yeah.
I saw him and went, yeah, no, he's dying.
As soon as they started going, I'm like, as soon as they introduced the ship and that there's a problem, and I'm like, oh no, it's not going to be the captain, is it? It's like, it's not going to be the captain. We just made a joke about this a week ago.
Yep.
Could it not be the captain? Could it be anyone?
No, he's there for that specific purpose. They're like, we need someone expendable that no one's going to care about.
But we had
that guy.
But we also had the idea of a power struggle there to begin with the guy with the oil company.
Pritchard.
Right.
Yes.
I called him the a-hole.
Yeah.
That was my name for him.
His name is Pritchard. Come on.
We
don't even need to call him.
We have a host here whose last name is Pritchard. Let's not make that joke.
But it's his first name.
It's his last name.
Oh, were they calling him?
Everyone goes by last name.
Yeah, it's a military. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Still, he goes by Pritchard.
Well, that guy specifically reminded me, this whole crew really reminded me of, the crew you find in the Alien movies, where it's always just a ragtag group doing stuff, and then there's the company stiff, and then there's the captain, and then there's the super duper relatable girl. I actually really enjoyed that aspect.
And the easy way to make her relatable in this context is just to literally make her a fan of Doctor Who.
Yeah. Pretty much. Although I said this this doesn't make up for taking Osgood from us, Mom.
Absolutely not. But Pritchard reminded me of was it Silence in the Library when we meet River? The guy who's like, you have to sign this waiver. That's who he reminds me of.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can kill him.
Yeah.
Let's be bureaucratic and by the book.
Yeah.
In this crisis situation where we should really just be solving problems.
It's all about the money.
As much as we're making fun of the fact that we lost our only
you can say
black character.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did introduce as in a strong, in a powerful role, the leader of this team after the captain goes down, a deaf character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which that was fresh. That's good to see.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And I'll say this: if she's actually signing British Sign Language is so different than American Sign Language. Oh my goodness. I was trying to follow along. I was like, nope, this is not American Sign Language.
Okay, cool. Because as an American, it was a guy doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So it could have been the same to me.
It's because British Sign Language and American Sign Language are different. But I didn't realize how different until this episode. I went, I have no idea what she's saying.
Did you recognize any of it? I know that you host Switch at Birth, which has a deaf character.
Right, as half the cast is deaf. Yeah. And I speak sign language fluently, but I was absolutely lost. I had to read the subtitles like the rest of you. I hated it.
or wait for the guy to...
Or wait for him, yeah.
Wait for the guy whose apparently only job is to...
He's an interpreter.
He's just the interpreter?
That's a...
I know, no.
First off,
I'm sure
I'm
sure on that base he has other responsibilities. Effectively, you think about a crew like this, similar to... And this is probably just because I saw The Martian over the weekend. But similar to...
Spoilers, bro.
Similar to a space crew.
Yeah.
That when you send a team up, everyone generally has multiple specialties because there's only so much space. Just under the lake, there's only so much space. So everyone has to be able to perform multiple duties. One of this guy's duties was being a translator.
Yeah.
Or just he just happened to be able to, and that's why they picked him to pair with this other person. I'm sure he also was an engineer or something. It just wasn't needed to go into.
Maybe. I would assume, though, that because she's such a high-ranking person, that his job may be literally to interpret, but also cook, like something less
Exactly.
stressful because that is his priority.
He's the laundry man.
Yeah, for
cook.
sure.
But that means what's great about that is that this wasn't like a deaf character that we have to feel sorry for or worry about. Like this is a character who was in charge enough to warrant getting a translator to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
And the doctor keeps going to her. It's like, when I leave the room, you're the smartest one in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really glad that she had agency because, like, with the way that the whole episode was kind of going, I thought, man, she's just gonna be like a plot point. She's just gonna be a tool for them to be like, oh, we'll have her read their lips. But she's actually the most important character so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also was really worried when we met her that it was going to be that they were going to kill her. That she was there to give us this other, emotional something.
Or they were going to make her, like, when she started to, like, worry about Lun.
Yeah.
I was worried she was going to become, like, their, like, bloodhound, basically. Like, for some reason, the deaf girl can sense the danger.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was just everybody, and she just, felt uneasy about it.
But I do like that when she happens to be deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just a person who was second in command of this base.
Mm-hmm.
And it does come in handy to read the lips. But let's discuss the monster of the week at a little bit length. Or Doctor Who does ghosts.
Ghosts.
We
were all thinking it.
Yeah.
A couple times where people were like, it was just do it. Just go ghosts.
If I didn't love the Doctor Who intro music so much, I was gonna have us come into Ghostbusters. Like,
not Scooby Doo.
Not Scooby Doo.
Well, because
they're running from whatever.
Save this debate for.
But even there was a little interstitial at one point in between the commercial breaks where it was just like they do this every week. But Moffat and Capaldi were talking about this episode,
right?
And I really liked what Moffat said. Like, basically, he just like talks about the genesis of the episode. It's like, that was the idea. What if Doctor Who did ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I could totally see in the room like the writers just going, we haven't done like ghosts in a while. Like we've done like some like ghost-like things, but like what if we just did ghosts? And then you work backwards from what is a ghost in the Doctor Who universe?
Right. But I feel like that's kind of how he does a lot of his stories, right? Like I remember the season premiere with Clara when we first with the Bells of St. John, where his statement was, you know what I haven't done? Made everyone afraid of the internet. That was his statement, and that's how we got that episode.
Yeah.
So like I literally feel like that's what he does. Is he goes, this would be cute. All right, snowmen.
People aren't afraid of snowmen.
Let's do that.
Let's make children afraid of the snow.
Right.
But in this episode, I thought it was fascinating. Like, I like that they used a Tavolian, the little mole guy.
I also love that they were like, and that mole guy, and I was like, oh, good. I'm not the only one that sees it.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it until they said something.
That he looks like a mole?
You're polite.
I was distracted by the eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was distracted by the top hat.
Well, the eyes of the top hat
That's
together.
usually.
Yeah.
Like, it took precedence in my brain over the, like, slightly
Mole?
different, the nose and the little mouth and the
Right.
cheeks. There was a lot more going
yeah.
on that face.
He's definitely more human-like than mole-like.
He's a mole man for sure.
He's like a real old man with buck teeth.
He's a mole man.
Mole man.
If you don't remember, we've seen these guys a few times before. Mainly, the main time that I remember was in the God Complex.
Yeah.
The hotel episode with Matt Smith's doctor,
Right.
Where they're like, he's the cowardly one who like tries to keep giving them up to the Minotaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the doctor makes a point about that like it wouldn't be just the ghost of the Tavolian because they're too cowardly.
Right.
They would not attack at all.
There's more than that.
Right.
And that's why I think it was a strong choice to use that alien because you like Doctor Who has a wealth of aliens to pick from.
Like the Gelth?
Seriously, guys, make an episode about the Gelf.
Bring them
for
back.
Stop trying to make guilt.
God damn.
Is that because it's not October 3rd anymore? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the God Complex was written by Toby Whitehouse, who also wrote this episode.
Yeah.
So
I guess
he must
has
not
a
like the
favorite.
He must not like the Gelf, at least.
What a jerk.
But so they like. I like that I love the Doctor's like involvement in this mystery, like where he's just like excited about ghosts.
Yeah, that was
like,
awesome.
They can walk through walls. They only come out at night. They're see-through. Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yay!
Let's figure it out. I'm a doctor.
Yeah. And I feel like this is the first time we've gotten that Doctor, like the explorer, super excited Doctor. Like, up until now, he's been very crotchety about things. It's like, oh, Robin Hood exists? Can't be. This other thing exists? Can't be. But now it's like, oh, it's ghosts. This is amazing. This is a wonderful discovery. And I liked that. And I think that's why I said, like, this is, to me, the first time he was the Doctor.
Yeah.
Also, how everyone must have loved those cards.
Oh yeah,
yes.
and we'll get into that at
Okay.
length when we get
Got
into Clara and what's going on with her.
Yeah. I mean, we do. It's. We've said this whole season is supposed to be them going on adventures. That's what they want, is to have a good time. And I think this is, as you're saying, the first time we're seeing them accomplish that goal.
Yeah. And there's a lot more to talk about that. Trust me, we'll get into it. I want there's enough there. I want to talk about it.
Got it.
At
All
length.
right.
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one who took screenshots and Googled it and figured out what all the cards mean.
No,
No.
we all did it.
We have Tumblr.
Fair enough.
But so there was some cool there's a nice name check, or like a name check to the Nethersphere point, which is the most recent thing dealing with ghosts and death.
Yeah.
So I feel like they had to call it out a little bit, referring to them as digital copies,
Yeah.
which has its own like
Yeah.
they were digital copies, but the kid came back from the dead when
They were like
sent him
uploaded to
through.
the, and then they were downloaded into the
know.
Cybermen, and then they were uploaded again. Like it's wibbly wobbly internet
Yeah,
time
literally.
behind me.
Let's
It's
not
internet-y.
think about it too
It's
much.
internet-y.
Internety, witternetty, internety, witternetty.
Super witty netty.
Okay.
Oh my god. But so they go through the whole process of like they're gonna trap the ghost. I loved the chase sequence.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That they're just like chasing each one of the them through the halls, and then they like, oh no, they split up.
I love that we see that they're learning. I love when a monster gets smarter as the episode goes on.
Yes.
Because it becomes more threatening, right? To see the fact that they learned to turn the lights off, that they learned to like flood the room, that they learned to do these things, to split up.
Yeah.
It makes them scarier when they adapt.
Well, you know what was so strong about this episode to me, and with this point specifically, and just overall, was that everyone involved is really playing to the top of their intelligence. Absolutely. There's no moments where I'm like, well, you wouldn't really do that, but I'll let it slide because it's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, no, every decision that these characters made, I felt was justified. I thought a really strong example was just the Doctor embracing his position with UNIT.
Yeah.
Like, the psychic paper is just like his ID, actually his ID this week.
So, that's so funny.
But it's like I'm the Doctor. Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all know me.
But when he gets on the phone, he uses his
number.
His number, his code, like to say, this is Doctor of UNIT, stand down.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not use that?
Yeah.
Like when you're on Earth, especially in like modern times, or like
2119.
modern times, and I was gonna say and
the future?
in the like
As long as
not too
UNIT
distant future,
Right.
Which like that's I mean I don't know if we've established that UNIT lasts for another 150 years.
I think
or so,
that
but-
just did.
Well, that did,
no,
but-
or at least their records do.
Right.
That whoever he was talking to had access to UNIT's records.
Yeah, but O'Donnell also like recognizes that he is from UNIT.
Yeah, UNIT
Okay.
is around. Like
Yeah.
they're active, and they're like, I wish. She said like, I wish I could be part of UNIT. Like
Right.
always on the front lines.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Then Unit makes it to 2119. That's canon now.
At minimum, to 2119.
Oh, canon.
But it speaks to a larger, like, just, this was a well-written episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on those decisions, like, because this is one thing, like, I saw some people just, like, reading some reviews afterwards, like, some people didn't think was that every one of them agrees to stay.
Yeah.
Would you guys have stayed? What would you have stayed in this situation? Let's give you an out. You can leave, or you can deal with the ghosts.
I'll say I think that what the doctor's point was that they are all there to help and are selfless people, right? So that makes sense as to why they would have stayed.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would not have been there to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I personally would have needed that level of convincing, but I would have ultimately stayed.
Interesting. I personally would have stayed because I would have been curious. I mean, this thing that killed my friend and some douchebag. Essentially, you don't know what the origin is. You don't know where it came from. It's an unnatural phenomenon. And for most of these people, this is their first time coming in contact with, like, alien technology, the concept of, like, time travel. So, I mean, it's like witnessing a momentous moment in history. Like, why would you leave that? Why would you ever want to walk away? I mean, yes, you could die. All right, I get that. But it's like, if you're gonna die, you go out like a baller. It's not like you don't. It's not like, you know, you're gonna get a nosebleed and bleed to death from your face. It's witnessing history and being a part of that.
As you were saying, the idea of this mystery and the seeing it, whatever. I've watched enough sci-fi and television and movies and fantasy to know that I would not survive. I know that I'm not going to. I would have. I'm out.
Hey, neither would I. But you know what?
Also, given how this is,
Tari.
Also, given how in 2119, you're saying they still don't probably know much about time travel. Who's to say that's not just some crazy person who made up the idea that you could actually fly away?
Right.
That would weigh into my decision too. Of like, I know where my bed is if I stay, and this is the world I know and I grew up in.
Right.
He's some guy I met like yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's wearing glasses, and the glasses do something. And
he claims that he came in a blue box time machine
that I have not seen yet.
Right.
No one has seen the blue box time machine. Where like, I would take anything he said with like a little bit of.
But they know.
I'll stay and fight.
Some of them
they know
who
he's the doctor.
Yeah.
And when he flashes the psychic paper, that proves to them that he's with Unit.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Don't look at me. I'm not going to survive. I'm not staying.
I think I would be similar to Bennett. Who, like, I'd be like, I feel like we need to get out of here, and then, like, be convinced. Like,
Bennett.
Sorry, like you were saying.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was Bennett.
Which one's Bennett? Oh, is that the guy?
Arshur Ali plays
The
Bennett.
male.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just heard the guy.
Glasses.
There's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, like, one of the other big part of this, besides the ghost, was the spacecraft itself that they found under their like this like thing that was buried in the flood that leveled this little military town. It's like very sleek. It looks like it could work underwater because it has sort of like jet turbines,
Right.
which you don't need, I guess, unless it's flying through the air. Like, you don't need turbines in space.
Right.
Right.
Somebody was pointing out to me, and maybe I missed it, there's no evidence of how or why this spaceship crashed.
No,
Not yet.
It looks from the outside that what we saw that's intact, except that it's missing a power cell.
Right. And the captain was elsewhere.
I wonder if it's the same writer as a town called Mercy. I wonder if it's like a similar, like he took the power cell to like power something else in the town. Or maybe it's inside the box,
right,
keeping the cryostasis going.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's the big thing is that there's a stasis pod with somebody inside it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pilot, right?
Well, the doctor's like, it might be the pilot, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Because if that ship belongs to the Tavolian, who's dead,
Yeah.
in theory, that's not the person in the cryostasis pod.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I just had a thought.
Share it.
With the ending. What if it's the Doctor in the stasis pod?
That'd be interesting.
That would make sense.
And that I'll have to get into that more in predictions later.
Yeah.
That we haven't.
Yeah.
But then there'd be 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah.
Hey, it could.
Paradox.
Yeah. No.
Marty, the Libyans.
Oh God. But so let's
1985
in the symbols.
Yeah.
In the symbols, they're they translate to Dark Sword Forsaken Temple, and the Doctor basically uses them as he pieces them together, and they're magnet. They're that's the best way he can describe it. They're magnets that rewrite the synapses in your brain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I follow the logic of it. That's the thing. It's just sciencey-wincy enough that it's ridiculous, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
How those symbols don't translate in the TARDIS, I'm okay, so I guess that one I had to give them, but if it's not technically writing.
So I think because he also didn't understand the sign language, and he was like, I speak sign language, and then he was like, no, I don't. I think that there's something hindering, because he says it's also he goes, oh, it was deleted.
It's been deleted, yeah.
I think there's something more to it than the fact that he couldn't read it and that he couldn't understand the sign.
Oh, because his brain has been rewritten. I think you're totally right.
Thanks.
That the magnets rewrote his brain, or that the TARDIS isn't?
I think that there's something hindering this ability to translate everything the way he usually does.
And we know the TARDIS is freaking out right now.
Right.
That's fair.
So
that would be that would be the easy out. The TARDIS is freaking out, so it's not translating everything.
I was just really excited to see Capaldi's sign, and I was really disappointed when he didn't. That's all. I'm full of disappointment.
Well, that's an interesting point though, because the TARDIS doesn't. He says that why did you at the very top? Why did you bring me here?
Yeah.
What? But then the TARDIS is afraid of the ghost.
Right, and he has to put the handbrake on to keep it there. Yeah.
The TARDIS doesn't want to stay, but the TARDIS brought them there. The Doctor didn't mean to go to this place.
Right.
So do you think that the signal somehow sent for the TARDIS?
I don't know if it's
they said that it's a distress call or it's a call to arms. It could be anything, but it's signaling for someone, killing people to strengthen the signal.
Yeah.
Right. I would think that it picked up on this signal because I would imagine right when the first ghost appeared, it probably picked up on that. And we know now that the Doctor has some form of destiny in this land. I mean, whether it's self-made or not, we know that there is now a weird destinical. Yep. Circle
that's a wordy
going to happen. And so, the TARDIS is attracted to these weird time phenomenon.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that would be the case.
That makes the most sense.
I mean, also, the other option is that it is a distress signal, and the TARDIS constantly takes us to distress him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. That's,
there's a problem? Let's go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely something we've seen before. Try to stop that sentence.
Yeah. It is something we've seen before.
But we've seen it a few times before. Sorry, guys, trying to deal with the little noise on the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're getting a lot of that, what the TARDIS is doing there. I want to talk before we. I want to talk about the end of this episode, the big twist at the end. So the ghosts are flooding the radiation chamber.
Yeah.
And so they have to run to the TARDIS, but only half of them make it through.
Yeah.
And Clara and the Doctor are separated. So the Doctor's going to go back in time to when the ship landed to find out more.
Remind everyone who's on which side.
With the Doctor is O'Donnell, the big Doctor Who fan. The fan of the Doctor. This is distinction.
Right.
And
the fangirl.
And Bennett.
The guy.
The guy.
Yes.
Glasses.
But the translator Lun and Cass, the deaf character, are with Clara.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So those are our two squadrons at this point. And so I personally thought before I get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just real quick. It reminds me of the episode The Doctor's Daughter when we meet Jenny, because that's when like Martha is separated with one group and the Doctor and Donna are with.
They also did it. It was a big part of Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's all. It just all of a sudden I was like, oh, great episode.
It's fun, especially it's a big thing when I think it's going to be important next episode because Clara, like the whole thing of Clara being too much like the Doctor, and now that they both have to lead a team,
right?
And that's the thing when you give a companion the head of a team, make the companion a head of their own little like companion squad.
Yeah,
but she's head of the squad with the actual head of the team.
Yeah, which will be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
But so, I personally think it would have been a stronger ending to this episode. There's one really issue I had with the episode is I would have ended it with the Doctor running to the TARDIS and leaving. I thought it actually was a weaker ending for seeing the Doctor's ghost coming out of the water.
I would agree.
I thought that was very TV tropey.
I felt very like, yep, that makes sense. Like,
yep, that makes sense, but very much like, oh, well, they want me to just tune in next week. Like, that felt a little tricky. Where it's just, I'm tuning in next week.
Yeah, it's Doctor Who. We're not going to not tune in.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Oh well, it's just like we know the Doctor's not dying in episode 4.
Yeah,
we know that that's not what's going to happen. So it's like not that beat couldn't happen in this 2-part story. I'd rather have seen it at the top of next episode in like the teaser, the cold open, as opposed to the end of this one, because it just was like, if it's just like the Doctor running back in time to like investigate this and he's separated from Clara, that's a big enough sell point for me. Yeah. That's a huge, like, that's like, what is going to happen now?
Right. Or if you gave us a tiny snippet of it in the next week segment, like, but I'm talking like tiny.
I mean, what would you think? What would you think if it was that we saw? They were like, "Oh, it's it's another ghost. It's another ghost." But we didn't see that it was the Doctor. Would that have sufficed? Or
yes, yeah. Because I would have thought, what if it's Clara? What if it's like all these things? Like we know from like news and stuff, like where like that, like when like, there are these actors coming in, these actors going out. Yeah. But if you take yourself outside of that, and a lot of fans are outside of that, there is a threat that a companion could die.
Right.
They do die mid-season sometimes. It happens.
Yeah.
But I know the Doctor's not going away, so it's not. I'm not feeling the danger.
BBC literally has a show to announce the next Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole live special.
Right.
Yeah.
We know when the Doctor's going to die.
Yeah. But I mean, that aside, like, I'm still excited for the next episode.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about, because we're running a little low on time. Clara wants another adventure, and that's what got us here, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are we dealing with the addiction story line from? This is sort of a continuation of that?
I think that's been dropped. I really believe that's been like, meh, we're moving on.
I think it's closer to what we were talking about last week in figuring out why the Doctor is running, because he says, there's only room enough for one of him in that ship, essentially, which means that he's seeing the same thing that has him running in her. So I would assume that she's trying to get away from her feelings about Danny or whatever it is in her regular life. And he's really worried about it because he's known loss, and so has she. And so it's that whole thing.
Yeah, I agree, because he even says, like, we need to find you a new love.
Yeah. He's like, you need to get a hobby.
Yeah. And, like, well, this is her. This is her hobby. This is her rebound. This is what she's got.
She's running from life as usual.
Right.
She just happens to know the Doctor. Which
I'll say, if we keep it this way and we don't send her back to school and then pick her up every week, I'm okay with it.
I prefer that.
I prefer us to not see her trying to live 2 lives.
Right.
Well, because we already saw that.
Especially because she's now done dealing with that, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's just a question of what is that going to do? I mean, the relationship between the two of them is becoming very interesting, where he's like, I have got a duty of care.
Yeah.
Like he feels he's responsible for her, and especially after I think what happened, where like him being involved in her life effectively, like resulted in Danny becoming a Cyberman and going through all of that. I think he's like, I need to look out for you.
Right.
But she feels the same way that she needs to look out for the doctor. Thus, the emotion flashcard or apology flashcards.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I mean, that's the fact. This doctor doesn't get people.
Yeah.
No.
Like, despite how much he might love humanity, he doesn't understand us.
Yeah.
I like it.
So there was one card that said, no one among other disasters is going to be exterminated and or upgraded. So specifically left
or
upgraded. The Cybermen Daleks, that's pretty common.
Great.
And then there's a scripted apology for dropping someone off in Aberdeen. It's a reference to the Hand of Fear and school reunion.
That one.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was the Hand of Fear, or when the doctor mistakenly dropped off Sarah Jane in the wrong town.
Oh, right.
Yeah, dropped it off in Aberdeen. Like, that's a card.
Great.
He needs a card. Just be like, I'm sorry.
He's got to be prepared.
Yeah.
He can't be expected to sympathize on just on a whim.
Keep going.
No, those are the two.
Aw.
Sorry. Those are the only two I could catch. And by I mean the good folks on Wikipedia.
Yes.
Thank you, good folks on Wikipedia. You save our lives.
Meaning the whole internet. Everybody.
Thanks, Internet. Internety, Witternety. That's a thing.
But so I wonder if Clara at some point in the season is going to be pushing the Doctor into like more dangerous adventures, like where he's like, I think we should not be here, and she goes, no, it's time, and she like gets herself into real danger and trouble, even more so than we can expect from a normal episode. You don't think so?
Well,
I don't think so.
Well, I think if they're both running from something, that's eventually just going to come to head with each other. Where she's going to push for him to keep going and doing dangerous stuff, and he's going to keep trying to run, where eventually he's going to say no, and they're just going to fight. Well, not physically fight. They're going to argue and figure out their stuff.
Do you think it's that that thought process we've seen a few times before with companions, that they think they're going to be with the Doctor forever, and the Doctor's like, no, you need to go back to your normal life eventually.
No, I'm tired of you. You got old.
Yeah.
You had your seasons. It's time to.
That's what happens when
I don't
dogs
see
get
that
old.
with Clara. Only because we've seen that enough. That I don't see that with Clara. That it's like Clara. Sorry, Clara.
Those are different names.
I'm American.
Not an excuse.
Let me ask you guys this, not to get too prediction-y. Do we think Clara will end up separating from him, or do you think she will die?
Oof.
Starting with Tauri.
I don't see them killing Clara. I mean, we've had her die enough times, so that I don't think I don't think it'll have any impact. So I think that she has to leave of her own accord, and it has to be some meaningful thing. Like she has to find her new love, or she has to like find her new way with or without a man, and like a good career or something that she has to do for herself, so that she feels complete. And I think that would be the best ending for her.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's hard to say she'd die for that reason.
Yeah, death. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. That death doesn't seem to have any consequences.
Yeah.
On this topic, the third JP says, in the chat roll, just says, I just want her to exit the TARDIS so she could potentially come back in the future, like Martha and Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, there's bigger stuff to talk about in what I think we'll have to do next, which is news and gossip.
What?
Oh, there's some big stuff this week, you guys.
Oh my God, share.
Now your AfterBuzz TV news.
Yeah.
There's this new spin-off coming.
Right.
I don't know if you guys, if you at home have heard about this, but the BBC this week announced that they're going to do a Doctor Who spin-off. It's going to be 8 episodes, and it's called Class. Mm-hmm. And it features the the Coal Hill School, the famous Doctor Who school that we've seen since the very first episode of the series. and we don't know anything else about it.
There were predictions, or at least some people said on Twitter that they thought that might be where we're leaving, or we're losing Jenna to. Is that because she is a teacher at the school?
Yeah.
That said, we know for a fact that she's leaving for to play Queen Victoria. That said, that doesn't mean she can't do this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
It's only 8 episodes, so it's not. I mean, that's. For her, for shooting wise, that's maybe about 10 to 12 weeks of commitment. So there's no reason to say that she couldn't do both.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like it makes sense. I mean, I'm convinced that Moffat just like has a big crush on Jenna Coleman and is like, I know we need to lose her from the show because like it's time to get a new person in there. But I love you. Here's a show of your own. But I think it's gonna. But they said it's gonna at least center around teenagers. It's supposed to be a teenage. It's for teenage audience,
and it's directed to teenagers.
Yeah. Right. So, but that doesn't mean that you wouldn't have other Doctor Who characters. Like you wouldn't have adult Doctor Who characters running around.
Right. I mean, it's the new Sarah Jane Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'll say this though. If they don't use this opportunity to frickin' get Ian Chesterton back onto Doctor Who, failure. Yeah. Failure in my eyes.
I was
because
they've
literally put his name on the head of like this on the sign in front of the school that says he's the superintendent.
Yeah.
Or what
Headmaster?
Headmaster, I guess, is the British equivalent.
British equivalent.
Right.
Not of superintendent.
Headmaster's principal.
Yeah. He's the superintendent?
Either way, I don't remember.
He's the headmaster.
They said...
yes.
It was in the 50th. I can't remember. I thought it was headmaster. It might have been.
Yeah.
Well, then he's principal.
He has a prominent role
He has a prominent role in the school, yeah. Yes. So, like, if you do a show about Coal Hill School that doesn't feature him, I'll be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks that there's something more to the show, and Class, because that's a weirdly just generic title for a Doctor Who show, is a mask. And so that's why there's no character announcements or anything else but the plot, is that whatever it is going to tie directly into the end of this season.
Oh.
Interesting.
They don't film till next year, so they could not announce anything about it before then. I think that they're going to retitle it. This is basically a fake name.
Okay.
I could buy that.
Or it could be an acronym.
I was thinking especially if you go with the Clara theory.
Yeah.
Clara.
But we do know it's. But okay. But so the other thing that I want to talk about before we run out of time is Stephen Moffat made some comments this week about, and this is just something else I want to talk about real quick. Some fans are upset that the screwdriver went away. There's no more Sonic screwdriver now. It's Sonic sunglasses.
I'm not upset that we lost the screwdriver. I'm just upset that we replaced them with sunglasses. That's all.
Am I the only one excited about the Sonic sunglasses?
I like them.
I like the sunglasses as a tool, making them Sonic. Like, it's almost like, why bother? Because if you're gonna lose the screwdriver, why? Like, it seems silly to replace it with another Sonic thing and not just keep the tool that's become so iconic.
Right.
I mean, Moffat says, like, the quote is, sometimes you have to be heretical. Sometimes you actually have to embrace the heresy. So he knows that this is, like, going against what some people feel is, like, a classic part of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I sort of like that mentality from him, that, like, don't lean on what's been there if you feel like you can do more without it. And the Sonic is very, in a lot of the way Moffat's used it especially, has been very much a crutch.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I think, here's my hesitation is, especially this episode when we see it being used, is that he's decided instead of a screwdriver, he's going to make it kind of like a screen. It can also shoot back so you can watch it. It's kind of like, I'm replacing this crutch with a higher tech, can do more things crutch. Well, the only thing this one can't do is open doors.
Well, but that's why I say, like, this could have just been one of his tools that he uses a lot, that he has these really powerful sunglasses. They didn't need to be Sonic. I would have just bought that he had sunglasses that had a ton of features.
I mean, I don't think he ever really referred to them as Sonic sunglasses. I think that was a
He did.
Did
he said that he specifically said it's Sonic technology. Wearable tech, Sonic.
When
Sonic
he pulls the TARDIS back into materialization in the middle of the Daleks, he says Sonic sunglasses and then taps them.
I just think this tool has too many uses, and I think that it's a like instead of a crutch, he's like, I now have a set of crutches.
But I'd rather that he has to have like different tools, like gadgets. Like Tennant had a lot of gadgets.
Yeah, but those are gadgets. This is I can do that.
It's all in one though. Like Tennant was back when we had cell phones and pagers and whatever else, payphones. But like now, it's all in one. Like because Tennant would build those by himself, and he would make them. But now, like, we're past that. We're 2 generations beyond having to clock, watch, make, fix different gadgets. You put them in.
It's a thing. It goes ding. Yeah.
Right. This little device that I have in my hand does so much stuff, like my phone. If you're listening to this,
I was like, people on audio.
I'm holding on my cell phone. It just like it can do so many things. Like to me, it makes sense that like a pair of sunglasses can transmit video. Like pulling a TARDIS into materialization is like you could have just taken the TARDIS key out, and that would have been cleaner to me.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I just wish if we were going to get rid of the crutch, let's get rid of it altogether.
Get rid of it altogether. Right. And I think that in a way we have. It's just like we use the sunglasses really quick to be a camera.
Right.
But
we've
also had
so that she can see it, so that she can read the lips.
But we've also had glasses. The doctors, like Matt Smith's doctor, pulled out glasses that did the exact same thing. In
the 3D glass.
No,
not the 3D glass. Yeah, when Amy when there's
the girl who waited.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
The episode where there's the older Amy who like waited for years around.
The girl who waited.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Rory's wearing specs that the doctor can watch because he can't go outside.
But those aren't like out of our reality tech.
Exactly. But so what I'm saying is like the glasses didn't do anything this week.
Yeah.
That aren't outside of our world of tech.
Right.
So unless it becomes a problem, which I don't, just based on his comments, why I brought up in news, because I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think it just happened to be the next episode that he used it this way.
I'm always hesitant and skeptical when it comes to Moffat.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Fair, and that's a fair.
He does say
I do not hate change.
He does say it may be resurrected. The original joke, which we've sort of slightly forgotten, is that the screwdriver was just a screwdriver that makes a noise.
Yeah, and I think, but that's what everyone, because he's responding to a lot of criticism to bring back the sonic screwdriver, which I think what he's saying, very tongue in cheek, is. Who's saying I'm not bringing back the sonic screwdriver?
Right. Yeah.
It's just he wears glasses this season.
Yeah.
Right.
Or however long I want him to. And it's going to be the same. Those glasses should be able to open doors.
Yeah. Let's not do that. But you know what let's definitely do is get into predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
I don't know. I wanted to roll my R in the predictions. All right, guys. So next week,
the conclusion.
The conclusion of this episode. What are you guys thinking? I threw out. I mean, my big prediction, so that you guys have some time to think.
Yeah.
Was I'm the more I've thought about this as we've been sitting here, I kind of feel like I have 2 predictions, 2 possibilities for who's in the box.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
I think it's either the Doctor who's somehow using the box to project a ghost version of himself, because if the box is what's creating those ghosts that are retransmitting, then boosting the signal, maybe he found a way to like psychically use it to project himself.
Okay.
Or it's the Maisie Williams character who is a Time Lord.
Those are 2 predictions right there.
But
there's a Time Lord in the box.
Yes.
Is your prediction?
Right. Yes, because
or that it's Maisie Williams.
Well,
yes.
Maisie Williams is a Time Lord is in the box.
Yeah.
It's his condensed.
And
prediction.
I am continuing my prediction which I've mentioned before, that Maisie Williams is going to be playing a Time Lord.
It's a Time Lord in a box.
I was going to say step 1, cut a hole in the box. Sorry.
Step 2, put your sonic screwdriver in the box.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
All right. Hey, guys. What I think is going to happen, I actually think that I think that the Doctor will in some way, shape, or form die. But I feel like they're going to bring him back in some whimsical way. I think that in this town, and when he gets there, he's going to find that there's some kind of alternate alien that's taken over everyone. So there's going to be like a colony of ghosts, and that's why everything was flooded in the first place.
We did see an image in the preview of the dam exploding, which the effect looked awesome.
Yeah.
But we saw the Tavolian alive.
Yeah.
So we'll get to meet him. Since I'm assuming it's his ship.
The mole guy?
The mole guy, yes.
Okay. I predict that the mole guy is not a Tavolian. That he's another human who is...
No, a Tavolian is the race.
Right.
Well, Tavolia is a planet, though.
Tavolia, or whatever, is a planet.
Right, but the Tavolian's the race of alien.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so my prediction is that the mole guy is not this race of alien, that he is another person or being that died and they took his whatever to become the ghosts.
That they're taking people's bodies?
No, the way that the first guy died.
They're taking people's essence?
Yeah.
So the
Does that make sense?
So the main villain isn't the Tavolian; it's something else. But like the Tavolian is just another projection, like Moran. Moran.
Yes.
Moran.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
Okay, I agree.
I also think that it's going to be that they're not dead, that they were taken elsewhere or whatever, and it was projected. Like, something like they're not actually dead, and that they're all going to be safe in the end.
They're all
in the box. At the very least, we saw Pritchard's body.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we know he's dead.
But death is wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, death doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I believe they're not dead.
Okay.
Because it has no consequence.
Okay.
And I'll say this. I like your prediction a lot of the Doctor being in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody in the chat roll,
Yes.
who was it?
Also agreed with you? Great.
Infamous Adam says the Doctor in the box, that would explain why the TARDIS is freaking out.
Right. Yeah, that actually... Good.
It's a great point.
I think we'll also get the answer to the language situation, because I definitely think that's a thing. Why he can't read it and why he can't understand sign.
Yeah.
Which the TARDIS should be able to translate since it's a language.
Yeah. The last thing was I don't think Maisie Williams is coming into this episode.
Ooh.
I think she is completely separate from this episode.
That was just my let's throw this out.
No,
there.
I think you're throwing out something wrong.
I think her prediction is that your prediction is incorrect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Or the part of your prediction that involved Maisie Williams.
That's my B level prediction. If my A prediction is wrong, I have a backup.
I agree that there is a Time Lord in the box.
Okay.
And that
first they got a hole in the box.
Yes.
Okay.
And then they
put
their
sign.
Stop it! Stop it! With that, I'm ending the show now because of what you said.
Okay. I think O'Donnell lives. I think Bennett dies.
Interesting. Okay.
What about Cass? Cass is the deaf girl.
Cass also lives.
Okay, go.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV for the Doctor Who after show, talking about Under the Lake. Guys, this was a blast of a show. I can't wait to be back next week. Tauri Miller, where can people keep up with you?
Hey guys. I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY. You can also find me on the Flash panel this Tuesday and Arrow panel this Wednesday. Keep track of my Twitter and I'll let you know the times.
You can find me online at Yael.tv. And this week I will not be doing after shows because I will be at New York Comic Con. That's right. If you're in New York for New York Comic Con, find me. The way to find me, tweet at me at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. I have prizes for people who find me.
And you guys can find me at Steve Kaufman. That's KAUFMANN. I'm doing 5 shows this week.
Wow.
So just check my Twitter. I'll have the links up to those shows. Also, I got one of her prizes. They're wonderful.
I got you beat. I'm doing 7 shows this week. Guys, you can tweet at me at @ZachWilson, and you can also see me here on AfterBuzz because we're doing the finales of Dominion and Strain tomorrow night. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Tara and I battle DC Marvel fights continues, and a whole bunch more. Guys, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.